Welcome to the ThunderCast, your Marshall Athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week. So keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You can follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You should be doing that. We're doing the 100 days to kickoff, Marshall football kickoff, and posting a player every day whose jersey number is the number of days till kickoff. I don't know if you guys are seeing that yet, but you got to be following on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Engage in that stuff, man. It's cool content. You can listen to the show anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcasts. And of course, if you are watching us, you have found the ThunderCast YouTube channel. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button, like and share, and hype the episode. I love that they added that. I don't know what the hype points are all about, but I just think it's a cool thing. So if you've got some hype points to give them to us. They're free. Click the button. We sure do appreciate it. It's KD Hudnall and it's Jed Horton back with you this week for 5 things. And we got a little bit around the herd, even though the seasons are supposed to be over, but we got some anyway. We've got a true 5 things for you this week. It's going to be nice, hopefully concise, to the point, and Jed and I are maybe going to get a little bit of our evening together. Well, not together with our wives. Did I get
maybe
that right?
Back? Get our evening back, maybe?
Get our evening back. Yeah, that's right. But we can't get into any of it without a word from our sponsors at Leasure Oliver PLLC.
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
Jed, it's great to be back with you for another week. I feel like I'm trading partners every couple of weeks and it's keeping me on my toes. I get different vibes week in and week out, but it's a lot of fun.
Right.
To have you back.
Yeah, glad to be back, man. I was going to make a comment earlier, and I'm still going to make it. The intro song has been growing on me. So like when I start, so the audience can't see this, but whenever the intro plays, I can still see you. You can still see me. And, I'm bobbing my head a little bit. So this time, I think every episode, man, you're like you're getting ready to air drum and everything. I love it.
Well, you got to hype yourself up. You got to get ready to
hype it up. Yeah.
You got to bring the energy to the ThunderCast, man. This isn't like the lame cast. You have to have the thunder. And in order to have the thunder,
right,
you got to get a little hype. And I hope everybody that listens loves the song too. And it gets them a little like ready to hear about what's going on with the herd this week, But like I said, we got 5 things and some ups and some downs, I guess. But I don't know. 5 things brought to you by Ignite.link.
And now, here are at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by Ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team.
Jed, before I give you number 1, did you happen to watch or listen to the episode that did with our newest All-American, Marshall softball third baseman, Sidney Burko?
I did. And I thought that was super cool. I had a little bit of inside knowledge that was coming. So I was ready for it when it came out, man. But no, I listened to that. I thought that was so cool. I thought she did such a great job. And to single her out a little bit, just such a special player, such a special person, and done a lot of really, really cool things, and having that hometown flavor too is just super cool. I love watching, these local student athletes come to Marshall and succeed, man. And she's got such a cool story, and it, plug in for the episode. If you're listening to this and haven't listened to that, stop this episode right now, go watch that one. Then come back to this one and hit resume, and then go. Well worth it, man. I thought that was awesome.
She did a great job. It was a lot of fun, a really good conversation. I think she crushed it. I said that a couple of times in some posts and something. I think she crushed it. And I got a little insight about some other softball players that would probably enjoy doing an episode as well. I don't know, like, I feels like we should do that, like closer to next softball season to get everybody hyped for softball.
Yeah.
But I got some names kicking around in the back of my head here. I got a little insight, so I'm sure we'll try to touch base with some of them closer to the beginning of next softball season, see how that goes. But that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I will disagree with Jed slightly. Don't stop this episode. Listen to this episode, and I'll bet you that interview is probably just going to autoplay on YouTube.
Yeah.
So just stick around. But anyway, Jed, number 1 this week, 5 members of the Herd baseball team have been named to the CSC Academic All-District team, just like softball a week ago. 5 members of baseball: Kenyon Collins, Jackson Golden, AJ Havrilla, Cooper Henson, and Charlie Krebs, all named to the CSC Academic All-District team for the Herd.
Yeah, super cool, man. One of the things is, if you remember, you've got to maintain a 3.5 GPA or higher, be at least a sophomore, and have played in 90% of the team's games or started in 60% of the contests. So, for example, pitchers need to have at least 17 appearances or pitch 35 innings. So, man, such a cool award, because it doesn't just honor the fact that they're performing on the field. And we talked about this before, but they're performing on the field, but then they're also performing in the classroom as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like you and I discussed in many, many times, and I know people are tired of us talking about it. Yes, I was not very smart, and I wasted a lot of my time in college, but it was very difficult for me just to attend classes and get good grades, let alone get good grades and be a student athlete. So, really cool honor, and very cool that they got that. Yeah.
So I look at that just the other way in terms of how this award is the criteria is met, because you said it's not about just doing it on the field and doing it in the classroom. I look at that as in the reverse. It's not just doing it in the classroom, because you could have a whole roster full of guys getting a 3.5 or higher, but you also have to be impactful enough to earn a spot in the starting lineup or earn your innings, right? So that is the wrinkle for me. It's almost the same, but it's a little backwards. So you can be great in the classroom, but you also have to be impactful on the field, which I think is pretty cool. But shout out to those guys, man. And while we're talking about, we already mentioned his name, and a week ago we talked about a bunch of the softball players that already announced they were coming back. One of the guys on this list I saw already announced they're coming back, and he tagged us in a bunch of the posts so that we knew. That's right, my man Cooper Henson coming back to Herd baseball next year. He's a Floridian, just like me, right? His high school was like 10 minutes away from where I work. I know exactly where he went to school. He's been all Herd since he committed to Marshall. If you guys have listened to the Thundercast for any amount of time, you remember that Coop was all about the Herd from the moment he committed, never wavered, could not wait to get on campus. And this year was his year to break out a little bit. He earned some reps earlier, got better and better as the year went along, earned that spot, shifted positions a time or two, but still remained on the field and has already said, I'm coming back for 27. I love it, man. That's a kid who's got infectious energy and the type of kid that you need on your squad, because he is all Herd all the time. So just a little bonus in this number 1 thing as we talk about Herd baseball. Number 2, Jed, a little bit of down. And we'll try to bring it right back up. Number 2, swim and dive head coach Ian Walsh resigned his position as head coach of Marshall Swim and Dive, but was then named head coach at Pitt Swim and Dive. So I wondered why he resigned, and now I know why he resigned. He is now a head coach of the Pittsburgh Panthers. So I wish Ian all the best of luck, man. My feelings about swim and dive and how that whole situation went down. And I tweeted that I thought Ian got a raw deal, and the way that the whole thing went down, he decided to stay on when they brought the program back. And, I thought, okay, good. We got a little continuity there, but hey, man, that's a big opportunity. So good for him.
Right. Well, yeah. And so, this opportunity to go to, you would perceive this as a step up, right? You're going to a larger school, ACC school, larger program. This wasn't a resignation due to these events. you know, how this transpired. I mean, this was, you know, if swim and dive didn't go through the things that it went through, and we got to the end of the season, you know, you know, Pitt comes calling, you know, you're going to take that job. So, man, Ian's done such a great job. I mean, we've talked, especially this past year, but in years past, you know, and you know, how the swim and dive team has performed. They've made the 5 things. They've been doing a lot of, you know, good finishes and personal bests and medaling and things of that nature. So he's done a great job here. The program was on the rise. The athletes were doing, you know, doing some good things. He was recruiting some really good athletes. So it sucks. I mean, it sucks, especially in light of everything else going on. Um, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, like with any job, you know, you want to advance your career, and you know, he's taken a step up and moving back. If I'm not mistaken, isn't he from the Pittsburgh area?
Oh, that I would not know right off the top of my head.
I thought I read something where either he went to school up in that area. I want to correct me if I'm wrong. Just put it in the comments and dog me. It's fine. But I want to say he's from maybe originally from that area, or has connections to that area somehow. I think.
Okay. No, I did not know that, but I'll tell you what, I read the press release of Pitt hiring Ian, because, you know, I was curious what they may had to say. And even though they didn't come out and talk about the situation at Marshall, they mentioned like what he showed through adversity is, and you know, that's what it was. That's what they were talking about. That kind of like cemented, aside from his ability to coach and make swimmers faster and things like that, that was a key point for them. It's like he handled adversity extremely well. So, you know, and I think you're right. I don't think one has to do anything with the other. I think if nothing would have happened with swim and dive, it just would have been a normal off season and a normal everything. Pitt decides they want to make a coaching change and they identify Ian Walsh. He's probably still going to get the call and probably still going to take the job. So good for him. I mean, really good for him. It was 8 years. He was here at Marshall for 8 years. And I feel like the swim and dive program was on a constant trajectory upward. So now all eyes have to turn to who will the next coach be now that what has been out there is out there. I mean, national news about Herd Swim and Dive. You know, there's no hiding from that. Right. So it'll be interesting to see who they can attract given those circumstances, and if we'll be able to maintain a certain level of excellence in the pool and in the classroom with our athletes. The swim and dive athletes had a phenomenal GPA every semester. So it would be interesting to see who they can attract to take this job, and if the successes of the program will continue to stay at a certain level. Number 3. One coach is leaving, but another one got an extension. That's right. Softball head coach Morgan Zirkle signed a new contract and now will be with the Herd through 2030. What do you think about that?
Did she do something special over the last few years to get that on? I mean, I feel like this is a no-brainer with her, man. Just, you know, having played here at Marshall, coming back to coach, doing some really awesome things. I mean, I think I can speak for you and for the fan base that I think something already, I mean, we just finished, you know, the season, and there's a lot to talk about for next season. And I think there's something special brewing for that season. And man, she's just been such a great coach. Her and her staff have done really great things. I mean, you've got, you know, record-breaking seasons happening under her watch. She's only been here a few years now and already doing some crazy things. So I think this was a very smart move. And I don't think you're going to get any complaints from any of the fans or the players, for that matter,
I know you won't.
For this extension.
I know you won't get it from any of the players, because, again, I probably should have just waited to talk about the interview with Sid until now. But if you go back and you do listen to that episode, and you haven't, or if you haven't, you should. If you have, you heard her talk about what it's like playing for Morgan. And I asked, like, what's it like knowing your coach can still play with the best of them, like, in the world? You know, it's not, you know what I mean? And she talked about that, and she talked like, oh, we know coach can go out there and,
Mhm.
take it to us type thing. But she talked about how great of a woman that she is and how like, it's not just always all business. Like after when they're off the field, she's just a person, and approachable to her players and somebody that they can trust and that kind of stuff. And it's like, that's exactly what I want to hear. You know what I mean? That's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm hoping to hear. And I think it's great, man. This is the homegrown legend. I mean, Ono, West Virginia, Cabell Midland High School, Marshall University, All American, Team USA's, professional softball player, still, one of the hottest coaching commodities that when she was hired under 30, right? I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't lock up Morgan Circle to be your head coach for as long as you possibly can. Now, I'm not saying you
Yeah.
sign her to a 15-year deal now, but I'm saying, dude, every time don't even let it get to the final year of the contract. If the program is still way up here and doing things like this, you keep signing extensions if you can, because why would you take a risk on somebody else? This is the story. She's the story. This is everything that is right about Herd softball. She's from here, played high school ball here, recruits West Virginia athletes here, which we all love,
Mhm.
but the biggest thing is she wins.
Yeah.
She wins, and you want a coach that wins, and we have one.
We have one. So yeah, don't don't turn that away.
Don't
encourage
overthink
that.
it. You got a
That's
coach
a
that
leave.
wins.
Yeah. Well, she's doing everything right. It's the whole package, man. And you talk about just having a coach that wins, but then who is approachable, who like you said, is a person. I like the way you said that. Like someone who's just a person. She is a person, but she gets things done. And players, man, have such respect for that. And when they have respect for that, they listen. They'll listen when you tell them something, especially if they don't agree with you or they don't like. If they respect you, they're gonna do what you say and what you want them to do. And as a coach, that's important that people buy in to what your game plan is and buy into what you're trying to do. Because a lot of times the coach has a vision of how they strategize, how they want to play, how they want to compete, and how that all unfolds. And sometimes the individual can lose the fact that it's not just about you, the individual. It's how you as the individual play a role in the team.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's lost on especially younger players. I see it all the time with, I get the privilege of coaching my kids and some things, and you see that especially the younger ones. They can't see the bigger picture, the bigger vision, what it is that you're trying to accomplish with them as a piece to that. And so even when a player may not understand the vision or understand, having that respect for that coach means, okay, I don't know if I agree with you, but I'm going to do what you say, and I'm going to buy in 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And this group is bought in, and in it. Well, and then you see the results. The results happen out on the field when you have that buy-in. There's, it goes beyond just that athletic talent. It's how you operate as a team and collectively. And are you bought in? Are you out for the team, or are you out for yourself? And so, a coach that can bring all that together, well, look what happens. Something special happens, and that's what we saw this last season.
Yeah, and I think all of the other stuff just is the icing that you're smearing all over the cake. The local product, the alumnus, like all of that. I mean, and she's still walking the walk. She's still going out and playing, leading the, leading the league in, I don't know how many categories it was last year. I mean, she's still playing at an extremely high level. Remember, she's going to be repping Team USA again. And I mean, it's your coach,
right.
Sure. I'm used to having coaches. Like I told Sydney, I said, my coaches would be like, you guys do your work. I'll be in the office if you need me. And that is not at all what she is. Sydney's like, we go in to get our workout in, and she's in there working out. You know what I mean? Like she's getting her work in. You've got a really great thing. Don't overthink it, and just nurture this relationship, because it could mean that Marshall softball could be on the cusp of being a perennial powerhouse in the Sun Belt, a perennial NCAA tournament team, right? And just like I told Sydney, this season didn't feel like the end of something when it was over. It felt like the beginning of something. It felt like, oh, okay, 27 is going to be pretty good. So this is a great move. Obviously, great move. Let's talk number 4, Jed, because it's football. We're going to talk a little football for your final 2 things this week. Number 4, the game theme for our September 12th opener against Middle Tennessee State has been announced. And, dude, it's crammed. The biggest announcement is it will be the 2026 Marshall Hall of Fame induction. I was wondering, remember that moved to every 2 years after the 24 induction. And I've been waiting with bated breath to see a ballot, anything.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything, but it'll be a Hall of Fame induction weekend. Fans are asked to wear Kelly green. Please wear Kelly green. If you're still rocking a forest green shirt, man, it is time to upgrade, right? Go get yourself a Kelly green shirt. You deserve it. You're a Herd fan. You deserve it. But please wear Kelly green. No black, no white, just Kelly. They'll be giving away rally towels, and there will be a special promo for teachers. And cool. Remember, it was announced that it's a 7 p.m. kickoff, and you know what that means. That means all day tailgating, baby. All day tailgating. The home opener is historically when we go as large as we possibly can. We go big for spring game. All of our friends that came and hung out with us for spring game weekend and tailgated, and you saw how big that was. We're going bigger for the home opener. Our buddies are coming down to help cook again, and it's going to be an awesome tailgate, and we get to do it all freaking day long. So, Jed, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
That's right. Yes.
Bring the sunblock and remember that
pace yourself.
All you guys and gals have to worry about is getting yourself a game ticket. There will be plenty of food at the ThunderCast tailgate. And of course, all we ask is that you bring whatever it is you like to drink for yourself. There is no way we would know that kind of stuff. But there will be tons of great food available. Jed, what a jam-packed bit of info for this home opener.
Man, yeah, like it's we get to play a team that I hope we beat them by 50.
Yep.
We get to check out some new additional things that I am not going to mention because I think it's getting discussed later on. I've got to preview the notes this week. The ThunderCast tailgate is going to be rocking. The guys coming in with the smokers, man. I just tell you, if you've been listening to this episode or these episodes or listened to us for any amount of time, if you have not come to a ThunderCast tailgate, I don't know what's wrong with you.
You don't like free, I guess.
You don't like free. You don't like a free, like, if you had to. So when I go and I get multiple plates of food, I mean, I am eating, honestly, like if you go to a restaurant, you're eating $30, $40, $50 worth of food. If you eat a couple plates, I mean, you are going to a good, nice, very nice restaurant that's still not going to make that food as good as those guys make it.
Oh yeah.
And eating tons and tons of expensive food that's free. And you get to hang out with, obviously, Katie and I, and Russ,
who am I?
Obviously, yeah. But most importantly, you don't know who's going to come by a ThunderCast tailgate. Lots of former players come by. People, it's a lot of people come by. It's a lot of fun. If you don't have a home, I know a lot of people do have a home as far as, you have your own tailgate spot. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't have a home, you're more than welcome to come. We invite you to come. Come hang out, enjoy it, man. It's such a blast. It really is. Good food, good fellowship with Herd fans, and man, it's
and probably some Middle Tennessee fans this year because
sure.
they're the opener, right? And we're always opposing fans. Like, we want them to come to games first of all because that's obviously outside money that makes its way into our local economy. So we want as many visiting fans coming to games as possible. But on top of that, we want them to leave Huntington, number one, with a loss, but going, man, that's the most fun I've ever had getting my ass kicked. You know what I mean? Like I was like, we might have lost, but I'm gonna go back when the next time we go to Huntington, because that was awesome. Those fans were great, and that's really where we pride ourselves as a Marshall fan base. I firmly believe that. If you don't fall into that camp, you should reevaluate, because that is what we hang our hat on. It's great to talk a little smack and all that kind of stuff, but game day, before the game and after the game, nah, man, it's like it's all hospitality and it's all great, because whenever you go to away games, that will be reciprocated to you. Because by people that go, hey man, we went to Huntington, y'all took great care of us. Let us take care of you. And that's what we want the vibe to be at ThunderCast tailgates. And people that listen, they know that. But for people that are new to the show, just found the show, whatever, that's what we bring. So you always have a home, even if you have a tailgate home, like Jed said, walk across the lot, walk over, say what's up, just say what's up and have a good time for a minute. So it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And I am already ready. I'm already ready. I mean, I'm ready. Jed, let's do number 5. What do you say? Your 5th and final thing this week, brought to you by ignite.link, is some stadium news like you talked about. There is also a ton going on with upgrades to the Joan. She's getting even better this year. We've known about those LED lights that are getting installed for a little while now. They finally made that announcement a couple weeks ago or whatever. So we know that the first game will be under the new lights, which I think should be pretty badass for the intro. I hope they really go all out and plan something for that and incorporate those lights. But the concourses have been expanded now. The inner gates have all been removed. So now your only barrier is the black fencing that they installed a couple of years ago. So expanded concourses. I know that's been a gripe for a number of years. So you get a little bit more room to traverse and navigate. There will be some new concessions offerings. I think I saw like Chick-fil-A was coming inside the Joan. Let me see if I can remember what else. I saw it. Dang, what did I see that? Let me think. I know it was Chick-fil-A. They're gonna have an oh crap. There's gonna be a not food. It's an interactive stadium map is also gonna be.
That's right. I did see
part of the game, part of the experience inside the Joan too. So there's some cool stuff. They're gonna some stuff that doesn't affect me obviously, but some of the sky suites are being remodeled, which is great for those people. One thing that does benefit us all is there's going to be a stadium-wide pressure washing. So nice, clean, looking good. No word officially or unofficially of whether we will see the end of the infamous pee troughs in the bathroom. I don't know, but
I have it under good authority, KD, that we would draw at least 8,000 more fans if those got.
I know that's like a running joke and everything, but damn, dude, those things are probably, if the stadium were as old as me, those would be as old as me. I bet you those are the OG receptacles.
They are. Yes.
So they've run their lifestyle, man. They can't be, or they're not their lifestyle, their life cycle.
Yeah, they have. They've served. Listen. They've put in the work, man. It's let them retire.
Oh man, they've been doing the dirty work for 3 decades. I don't want to derail this thing because it's really cool to have some expanded concourses, a little bit more room, some new food options. The interactive stadium might be pretty cool. Now let's turn to the next step, in my opinion, which is enhancing the in-stadium experience. We need ourselves a ring of honor. Yep. We need some way to honor those best players of the that have played in the program. We need to do that. We can't just have Frank Gatzke's number on the press box and that's it. Yeah, we know that Moss's number is supposed to be retired and put up there now that he made it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame and is also a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. And if you didn't know, that's freaking Marshall's criteria to have your number retired and put on the press box. Those two things. You'll never convince me that being a Pro Football Hall of Famer has anything to do with Marshall success, but that's the way they see it, so that's fine. But there are still things that we should be doing to honor the best of the best players that we ever had at Marshall. I'm not saying you retire numbers. You can't just do that all the time, but we do need a ring of honor. You need to see that in the stadium when you walk in and you're in a game. That needs to exist.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that because we've had some all-time greats. And you think of every generation of herd football, going all the way back. You've had lots and lots of just great players that didn't make it to the NFL or didn't end up being a Pro Hall of Famer in the NFL. But man, they were insanely good football players and did incredible things for Marshall. So, no, I agree with you. We need to be honoring those players because they deserve it, obviously. Yeah. And also, especially when you're bringing those guys back, and they're coming to events, to Herd Brother events or to games or things like that. I think it's the least you can do to honor, like, hey, thanks for winning us those championships. Thanks for doing all those crazy stats and giving us memories to last a lifetime. At least it's the least we can do is put your name up somewhere. So yeah, I totally agree. There's definitely fan experience and also player experience things that can be done, and I think those are happening. I've got a lot of faith in our new athletic director and some things that are going on that we're going to be seeing more of these experience type things get better beyond just light upgrades and stuff like that, which are needed, of course. They're going to be super cool.
Yeah,
but
you need them. I mean, I look at that and I think, look at all the cool stuff they do at the Dot and they do at the Jack with the lights and stuff like that. And
yeah,
if you can extrapolate that across like an RGB level and really do something special with the football intros at night, those would be really badass. I think about like what 75 week could look like with special lighting, programming and stuff like that. But I think that rings of honor and things of that nature should be present at all of our venues. You need to be honoring the best of the best that have played Marshall baseball, that have played Marshall softball. You do it to a little. We do it a little bit in the CAM. They've got some jerseys retired and stuff like that. But there's how long we got to wait, before John Elmore's. Something's up there about John Elmore. I mean, good Lord, he's one of the greatest ever. And Tavion Kinsey, there's things like that. Like, I get it, you don't want to do it right away, but there's been a lot of players that have come through the program since the last time they retired a jersey to now.
Oh, for sure.
So anyway, that's an episode all in and of itself, Jed. And I'd hate to get off on that tangent because I could turn this bad boy into a 2-hour long ThunderCast episode, but we don't want to do that. That's your 5 things every Herd fan needs to know this week, brought to you by ignite.link. And now I think we should have Layer 1 take us around the herd.
And now, Layer 1 Solutions, your experts in business connectivity infrastructure, takes you around the herd.
So
what do you got?
I do have a few things. All right. So, seasons have wound down, but there's always something going on, as we've talked about, even during the summers, always something happening around Marshall athletics worth talking about. So we're going to start off with tennis. And running along the theme of you said, we got down, but we're going back up. Freshman Talia Smith has transferred out, and she's already landed closer to her home at Western Carolina. But we got, in addition to our squad, Isabella Walker, a rising sophomore from Louisiana Tech. She was nationally ranked in doubles competition and was 15-2 in singles last year. She joins the squad. So the portal taketh, but it also giveth.
Yeah, the portal tradeth a little bit. I think I don't know exactly what this means because Talia Smith is freshman and is now here and gone. But you're talking about 15-2 last year in D1 competition. this is good. This is what we need. We lost an all-time great in Johanna Strom to graduation. So you need somebody that's a strong singles player and a strong doubles player. That's what Johanna was, obviously. So, being able to add someone right back into the roster, Isabella Walker, I like it because it keeps herd tennis competitive at a certain level. And then it just becomes about bolstering up the remainder of the roster. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and say it was Johanna Strom and nobody else. It wasn't. That there were more tennis players. That the SBC tourney run proved that. But she was your number one, and now she's exhausted eligibility. You go find somebody that could potentially be your step in number one that's done it at this level. You got to like that. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you talk about a squad that made it to the championship, they're rebuilding, and then this is a facet to that, and then as these other players, elevate within the program, you bring some player, bring a player in like her who can, come in competing at that high level. I mean, I think you'll see from tennis come fall or come next season that we're going to, the goal is to continue and to finally just beat the brakes off of ODU at some point.
It doesn't seem like
impossible,
man. I mean, that's not a Marshall thing. That's like a entire conference thing. They are just so
right.
good.
Just give us one. Let's knock the socks off them. But yeah, great bringing her in. Welcome to the herd. Some baseball transfer portal news. As we move over to baseball, we have several baseball players that have announced that they are entering the transfer portal. We've got Griffin Miller, Blaine Albright, and Carter Walters. Thoughts on that, KD?
Yeah, I mean, there may be others, but we only like to report on the ones that we have seen from either a player tweet or multiple national publications, something like that. We don't like to just spit out rumor. I hated to see Griffin Miller go. I mean, he was pretty productive for the herd, and I don't know, pitching is hard to get, so when you got good ones that decide to bounce, that sucks. But I have a little faith. We also saw that not listed here that we haven't talked about. I don't think we talked about it. Maybe we did. I don't know. I don't remember doing it on a 5 things, but like the biggest portal entry was Evan Batone. That was announced earlier this week or late last week. So your first team all SBC performer has entered the transfer portal. That's easily the biggest hit so far because he was the lone all SBC first teamer that Marshall had. So that's a big one to lose. He had a great season. Russ dove into the stats there a couple of weeks ago when we found out he was named first team all SBC, and he's just a really, really good player. It would have been great to keep him. And I start thinking about some of the guys now over the past 2 years that Beals has lost. And, man, that's tough. I mean, think about if, Batone this year would have had the season he had, which he did. But also if we would have been able to keep like Micah New from the year before who really tore it up. Right. There's a lot of talent that Marshall's losing, man. And it really just sucks. And it's a part of this era that we live in. And I know we're not the only one that happens to, but it sucks because I don't care about what happens to everybody else. I care about what happens to my team, But I feel for Beals, man. He finds these guys and they play well, and then some of them decide to leave, and it sucks. But like we mentioned in the things, when we were talking about all district academic team, Coop's coming back. I think Russ said that Bryce Blevins has another year, so that's always a big, your ace will be back hopefully. So I don't know. There's going to be a lot of movement for baseball before we even have any idea what a final roster is going to look like. But I do have some faith in Beals. I just hope that he can continue to bring some talent in and keep recruiting and re-recruiting. But that's the name of the game right now.
It is what it is, man. And I am glad that I'm in this chair and not in his chair.
Yep.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It was tough before all the transfer portal and NIL and revenue share and all that jazz. And now you got to throw all that in there. And, your team can look very different year to year. And that's tough.
Generally, they will.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, keeping it on the diamond with softball, we got some transfer portal news. We got Summer Horn has entered the transfer portal on the softball side.
I wonder, like, how many. First of all, I wish her the best of luck. If you feel like Marshall's not the place, then I hope you find the place that you feel like is the place. But I wonder how many total roster spots that this team is going to have to fill in. I mentioned that I keep referencing this episode with Sid Burko, but we talked about that a little bit, and I said, man, it really feels like that any available roster spot for at Marshall is going to be a really coveted roster spot to get. I would think that anybody that enters the portal that is an impact player that wants to be able to go to NCAA tournaments and, be a part of a powerhouse offensive lineup, and or if I'm a pitcher, if I'm a good pitcher, knowing I'm going to get potentially the type of run support that we saw for the lion's share of the season, that's attractive to me. And also knowing that I'm not going to have to do it all myself. I'm not going to have to pitch, 250 innings this season. I've got, players like Jules King and Matty Veal also on the roster to be able to take the heat off of me a little bit, let me get appropriate rest, and so I can continue to be at the top of my game. I just feel like any open roster spots for Herd softball are going to be coveted. I feel like Morgan should have the opportunity to be a little freaking picky and choosy, man. I think there's going to be that much interest in transferring to the Herd that she's going to have her pick, kind of, amongst a decent pool size of candidates.
Well, and that's we just talked about baseball. That's a program that's trying to build itself. It's in a phenomenal conference in the Sun Belt.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to build itself to try to get above that, middle of the pack to, you want to be one of the top teams. And if you can do that, you can go to some NCAA tournaments, you can win a Sun Belt championship. When you do those things, we want to get baseball there, because then that becomes a coveted spot. Softball's done that, especially over the last decade. They've really, over the last decade since Morgan was here as a player, even that the squad has really been building the program to this point where I 100% agree with you, where, you can be picky and choosy. Players are transferring, trying to, they're getting to the transfer portal, hoping a school like Marshall will pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
They can get their opportunity here. And that takes time. It takes time to build that. And, but that's where you want to be, which I would say our program's in a really, really good spot. Because we're now the attractive, we're one of the attractive ones out there. So I'm going to go ahead and use that as a segue into another sport that is built itself up and is very, very attractive to transfers, and that is men's soccer. Men's soccer has signed Philip Dietzel. He's a goalkeeper from, and I'm butchering this man, and I apologize, but from Lübeck, Germany. And then we also picked up another transfer in Joshua Nugent. He is a Canadian forward with the Toronto FC2. And so those two guys joined Chris Grassie's already loaded squad and bring quite a bit of talent. So, Katie, initial thoughts on that?
If Grassie likes him, I like him. That's my thoughts on it. Who the hell am I to question? All he does is fill out an all-star roster annually, and it really doesn't matter who graduates, who transfers out, whatever. He seems to find an equally impactful player to come in and pick up any slack that may have been created by a departure. In Grassie, I trust always, without question.
Can we get the T-shirt?
Yeah,
Marshall Soccer needs to come out with a T-shirt that says "In Grassie We Trust," and I would buy that. I'd buy several because he's done it, man. We can.
Why don't we just do it?
We'll just do it. Yeah, there you go. But it's. I mean, he's again. You talk about softball and Coach Morgan. Like, this guy has proven that he can do that. He can build this team. He can take him to a national championship. You can stay nationally. You can become nationally relevant and stay nationally relevant year in and year out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who am I to question what he's doing, I can't, because he has forgotten more about soccer than I will ever know. But another quick note I wanted to mention, Andrew Armstrong. I wanted to mention him because this was reported that he will be participating. I'm trying to find the note here, but he will be participating on the Bermuda's national team. And we talked about this before we recorded, and I've lost my note, but he is playing. Is this a scrimmage?
Friendly?
KD? Like a friendly?
Yeah, against Cape Verde.
Cape Verde. There
Come
we
on,
go.
man.
Yeah, because
I did the whole bad joke about it.
I know you did, and I was like, and I thought I had it. See, I go into panic mode. So what happens is I've got my notes over here, and if I lose it, I go panicking. And but he'll be participating with that on a national team. So, initial reaction to that.
It's cool.
KD,
The
on something
international
you already
call-up.
know, we've talked about.
Yeah, the international call-up. I think that's wicked cool, man. You're gonna like loan him out for a match or two to play on the national team. Why not? And I mean, unless there's an injury that happens, let's not have that. But otherwise, you're going to be playing against undoubtedly stiffer competition and better competition than you're going to be playing against, by and large, at Marshall. So why not a little bit of, opportunity to get a little bit better? I mean, all that's going to do is make you better in Huntington, which in turn is going to make us better as a team, which in turn hopefully makes us hoist the Sun Belt Championship, and in turn hopefully makes us hoist another college cup. So this one friendly is the key to hoisting a college cup. I did the math already.
It's already done.
It's done. So give us the cup now, and we'll just save everybody a lot of trouble. That's the way I see it.
Well, yeah, but we've seen this year in, year out. We've got players that are playing up at for their national team, or they're playing at a very, very high level beyond just Marshall. And that speaks to Coach Grassi and his team bringing in, these high production international players who have done it for their national team or at a very, very high level. And that's how you win championships. You bring in this top tier talent, you put in, your system. And sometimes, I get a little nervous of Coach Grassi's system. And, but you know what? He always comes through because he knows what he's doing. And, man, he puts a really good product on the field. And it's not just getting that talent. One of the things I did want to mention is the fact, one of the things that has impressed me so much about him is, he'll bring in a player from Japan. He'll bring a player in from South America. He'll bring in a player from Europe and from Canada, from the United States, and say, okay, guys, I know you all speak different languages, but we're going to speak the language of soccer, and we're going to communicate and work as a singular team. And they do it, and they cross those language barriers. And man, I'm just impressed with the guy and his team and what he's able to do. And
me too.
And I hope the listeners and the fans that go to the games, and if you don't go to the games, just understand that what has happened here in little old Huntington, and just the product and what actually happens here. It's phenomenal. It's very impressive.
I think a lot of fans do appreciate that, and I think the attendance at the Vet speaks to that. And again, I'll mention now, like, Herd Soccer season tickets renewals are up. So if you don't renew, you will lose your seats. They will not be around for somebody or for you to get. So you better renew. And often, how many times has it been standing room only? How many times have they had to turn people away because they've reached capacity? I think a lot of people do understand what's going on in Huntington, and they have responded accordingly. If you would have told me when I was a student that we would have any type of serious following with our soccer program, I'd have been like, yeah, I don't think so. If you'd have told me that, I don't know how many years later, 2 decades, 2.5 decades, whatever, 2 decades later, that we would be a national champion, I'd be like, yeah, I don't think so, but here we are. And it's not just us. And I hate to give credit to in-state schools, but a very big epicenter of soccer is in this. Well, I'm not in this state, but in the Mountain State. Isn't that wild? Like at one moment, a couple of years ago, within the last couple of years, several moments, the epicenter of college soccer was in either a match in Morgantown or a match in Huntington. That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
It really is. And I know, in our state and in, the country writ large, football is the dominating sport for sure. But worldwide, the dominating sport is soccer. And the state of West Virginia has done extremely well nationally on the college stage, especially in representing some of the highest tier of soccer. And for seveal years and to multiple occasions, not a high tier, but the highest tier of college soccer. So those games are always competitive. Both teams are always really, really good. Both teams generally go to an NCAA tournament and make a run. It's impressive to see for a state of the size of West Virginia to be that nationally relevant in a sport is super cool to see. And I'm with you. I would have never. I would have expected that back when I was growing up, for sure.
Never. So let me put that in perspective for you, because you said a state the size of West Virginia. West Virginia's got what, about a 1.2, 1.3 million people in it, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
There are over 3 million people in the Tampa metro area where I live. That's 3 counties in Florida. That's 3 counties.
Yeah.
That's Hillsborough County, which is basically Tampa. And that's Pinellas County, which is Clearwater, St. Petersburg, like that. And then the county I live in, which is Pasco County. And that's, Land O'Lakes, and where I live in Wesley Chapel, and, Zephyr Hills, and some towns like that. Over 3 million people in 3 freaking counties. And our whole state has 1.2 million. That's what I'm talking about. And the state of West Virginia has become the epicenter often of collegiate soccer.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's
freaking wild. I love it.
Yeah, how can you not? It's just cool.
I love
it's one of them things. It's like a crazy stat. It's like I saw the other day, this is so random. Who would have thought that San Diego State and Tony Gwynn were going to make this episode of the Thundercast? But I don't know the numbers. I don't right off the top of my head, but it was his collegiate stats. He played basketball at San Diego State, Tony Gwynn did. And it had however many career assists he had. It was like 520 some or whatever. And it said he's got more assists at San Diego State than he had strikeouts in the major leagues. That's nuts. That's nuts. That's a nut stat if that's true. But anyway, that was awesome, man. Quick little around the herd, like a little positivity poking through there in this otherwise positive episode. I like it. I'm digging it. But I got nothing else. If you got nothing else, dude, take us out of here.
All right, let's go home, man. All right, whether you see us at the Can, or you see us at the Jack, or you see us at the Joan, wherever you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. It is the Thundercast. We will see you next week. Later.